back with you for row 1 of the border. Now what we're doing on this row is we're going to add in our new colour, or if you've decided to not use the white but use a different colour for the bordering of your main squares, carry on with that colour. Right, so we do a slip stitch join and then chain 1 and place a stitch into the first. Now we are going to stitch all the way around our piece of work, making sure that we make it nice and even going all the way along. Now you shouldn't have too much issue because you've pretty much done everything you need to so far. So we just keep going, and then when we get to a corner, I need to go a bit faster, don't I? Yeah, so when we get to the corner I will explain to you what to do. Right, so we're just coming up to the corner now. Right, so from this point on what we're going to be doing is placing a stitch in, a chain 1 and a stitch all into the same corner, and then work all the way down the next side. Right, I'm going to leave you to get on with that, and I'll meet you back when we get to about here. Right, so here we are, we're coming up to the end of this row. Slip stitch into your first stitch. Now for row 2 we're going to chain 1, we're going to hook over and we're going to do a half double into the first stitch, there we go, and then a half double all the way along. Again, when you get to your corners it is a half double, a chain and a half double. I'll leave you to get on with that, and I will see you when you get close to the end of the row. Right, so I'm back with you, we're just finishing up the round. And what we're going to do is a slip stitch into your first stitch, chain up 2, pull up, clip off and scoot your knot down. Right, so now we are going to start on row 3. So for this, pick a corner, any corner, and what we're going to do is we are going to count back 7 stitches from the corner. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. And in that 7th stitch from your corner, pull up a loop, okay, and tie off. Now chain 4, now that counts as your double crochet and a chain 1. Right, so now we are going to skip 3 stitches, and into the 4th we're going to place 2 double crochets. Into your next stitch you're going to place 1 double crochet. And into the next one you will be placing 2 double crochet. So in total you will have 5 double crochet over 3 stitches. Right, so for the corners we are going to chain 2 and then we are going to skip 3 stitches. And then we are going to start our next repeat which is 2 double crochets in your first stitch, 1 double crochet in the second, 2 double crochets in your third. Then we will be chaining 1, and you skip 3, and that is your pattern repeat all the way round. So I'll just talk you through that one again. It is a case of an increase, so your pattern repeat going down the sides of your blanket is 2 double crochets in your first stitch, 1 double crochet in your second, and 2 double crochets in your third. Then it's chain 1, skip 3, and then repeat. When you're at your corners, you will do your 2 double crochet, your 1 double crochet and your 2 double crochet, and then we just chain 2 for the corner. So I'll leave you to get on with the round, and I will meet you back here soon. Right, so I'm back with you now to show you how to end out your row. On your last cupcake base, you'll carry on going as you have done previously, but when it comes to your last double in the set, you'll just do the 1 double crochet, and then you'll be joining to the top of the chain 3, making sure that you leave 1 chain between the top of this stitch that you're going to slip stitch into and your next cupcake, and then we tie off the yarn, scooch down your ends, and get ready with your next colour. Right, so now we're going to join on the pink. Pick a spot, any chain spot will do. Pop your yarn on, okay, and then chain 1. Now we're going to be working in the front loop only for the next 5 stitches. Okay, so just 1, then we will be placing 1 stitch around the chain, and that is our repeat. So that is 5 front loop only stitches, followed by a stitch around the chain. Now we'll carry that on all the way to the corner, and then I will show you what to do next. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to place a stitch into the chain 2 space, a chain 1, followed by another stitch. Then we're going to go back in and do the front loop only for the next 5 stitches in this cluster here, and then carry on the way you were going on your previous row. And I will meet you when you get close to joining. Right, so now we're back. We're just on to our last cupcake case. Now you've already placed your stitch Oops, sorry, you've already placed your stitch here, so all you need to do now is slip stitch into the top of there and you finish the round. So we're now on to row 5. So for row 5 we are going to chain up 8. Now this next step we will be clustering all these 5 stitches together, and that will pull it in and that will form the top part of our icing. So to achieve that we're going to hook over and we are going to place a double crochet in, but we're not going to complete our double crochet. We're going to stop there and we're going to hook over, we're going to pull through, hook over, pull through 2 and hold the rest on the hook, and then you're going to do that all the way along for a count of 5. Right, so once you've done that you're going to have 6 loops on your hook. Now we're going to hook over and we are going to pull through all 6 loops on your stitch. So there you go, there's a little top there. Right, so now we're going to chain 5. And that is your repeat all the way along. So it's the chain 5 and then the 5 double crochets clustered together, followed by the chain 5. So if you carry on doing that all the way down your project, and meet me back here and I'll show you how we get round the corner. Right, so now we're at the corner, we are going to chain 4. Now into your little gap that you made with your chain 1 space, we are going to place a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Now we are going to chain 4 and start back on the top of your cupcakes again. Now by doing that, that will give you a nice square corner to work into for the next section. At this point I normally stick a stitch marker in. You guys know what I'm like. So I'll pop a stitch marker in there so I know exactly where it is for the next round. So remember, just keep going with your cupcakes along. When you hit the corner it is a chain 4, double crochet, slip stitch, double crochet into the same stitch there, another chain 4, and then we'll carry on with your cupcake. I'll see you when you get near the end. Right, so now we are going to complete our cupcake as we would normally do, but we will only have the 4 half completed double crochets there. Your 5th stitch will be the third, there we go, will be the 3rd chain up. So what we do is we place our hook through the chain. Now at this point, this is where we pop on our blue yarn, and we will pull that now through all of the stitches on your hook. Then pull up a stitch to complete. There we go. Okay, so for row 6 we will be chaining 1 and now just placing 5 single crochets into each chain spot. So once you've got your 5 crochets there, skip straight over to the next one and add in your 5. It's quite a nice speedy around this one. Just take care when you hit your corners, okay, and if you stop at your next corner and then restart the video again and I will talk you through the corner. See you shortly. Okay, so for the corners we are going to stitch in 4 into that first chain there. Let's take that out a second. And then into your little V here we are going to place a stitch, a slip stitch, followed by another stitch. Then into this chain here, which is the next chain along, we will be placing 4 stitches. There we go, and then from this point until the next corner we will be placing 5 stitches in each chain. Okay, so for a bit of a recap, the chain before your V is 4 stitches, then into your V you will be placing a stitch, a slip stitch and then another stitch, then you'll be placing 4 stitches into the next chain and then 5 stitches thereafter. Right, I will see you for the joining. Right, there we go, I've just placed my 5th stitch in my last chain. So now it's a case of coming across and popping a stitch in your first stitch there. There we go, pull it up, pull it nice and tight, and that's the end of your round. Okay, so for this row we will be doing half double crochets all the way around, and when you get to your corners it is a half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet into that V stitch on the corner. I'll leave you to get on with that and I will see you for the last row. See you soon. But this last row coming up now is the most awkward out of the whole pattern, and it's only awkward because I learnt it for this pattern. I believe that it gives it a beautiful finished edge, and it is called the crab stitch. Now if you've heard of it or you've tried it and you're not keen on it, or you think it's a bit too complicated, have a little watch of this next section where I'm explaining it. If you still don't get it at the end, don't worry, pop in a row of single crochet or an edging that you like, or leave it as it is and you're done. Right, so for those of you that are going to attempt the crab stitch with me or know what you're doing with the crab stitch, let's move on to the next section of the video. Right, so this next row is the crab stitch. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain up 1 and then we are going to be working in the stitches going backwards. So you will be placing your hook through, you will pull up a loop so that you've got your 2 on the hook, hook over and pull through. Then you go down to your next one, pop in your hook, pull up a loop, chain over and pull through. And you keep going all the way along. Alright, now make sure that you hold on to this loop as you're twisting your hook backwards to pick up that stitch, otherwise it will slide off and it will wind you up. Now I've also found that by turning my work so that I feed the work through, makes it a little bit easier personally for myself, because then all I'm doing is I'm not having to twist my wrist as much. Now I've got very finicky wrists, so anything to save causing any aggro to the wrists is a bonus. So it is literally just tilt my hand a little bit and feed the fabric up. As you can see, once you have found a method that works for you, whether it be feeding your work from the bottom or running across the top or standing on your head, once you find a method that works for you, it's a pretty speedy row. Right, now your corners are a little bit finicky here. What you're going to do is place your first crab stitch round the chain, and then your second crab stitch you're going to need to be a bit sneaky with it. So what I've done is I've just gone through the front loop, I've gone from the top to the bottom, and then I spin it through and I pick up my yarn and pull it through the loop that way, and then finish off the stitch, because then that will hold that into place. Please rewind this section to see me do it again, because I don't think I'm going to manage it. Right, and then we will just carry on going with your crab stitch all the way down the sides, and then repeat that corner when you get to each of your corners. Alright, so we're back for that last crab stitch, and just pop it in, and then to attach our two rows, just sneakily stab it in, and then pull up as a slip stitch, give it a tug, add one over, cut off your yarn, there we go, and just scooch it down, and you're done. Finally, it's just a case of sewing in them ends now, and then once you're done, your blanket is finished. I hope you enjoyed the tutorials, and I hope to see you soon for how to put the pillowcase together. Ta-ra for now. Right, so now you've finished your second row, we are now working on to our third row. Now this is where we are going to add the cupcake case colour. Crikey, 4 C's in a row. Right, so for the cupcake case colour. Right, so here we are, we're coming up on the corner. So for your corner, what you're going to do is place a stitch in to the chain 2 spot, chain 1, across so you can see it better. So let's see if I can do it this way. This is going to be fun. Right, so stab it through, pick up your yarn, pull it through, like that. Stab it through, pick up your yarn, pull it through. Alright, so it is that simple, and we go all the way along. Okay, I'm going to turn my work, do a little bit more for you, in the hopes that I've explained it well enough for you. Oh no, that's the wrong row. No, too early, Ange. Right, so here we go for the crab stitch for this border. What you're going to be doing is working in each stitch going backwards. Okay, now the easiest way I've found personally to hold my yarn and my work and everything is to turn it so that I'm feeding the work up, if that makes sense. I'll show you what I mean now. No, I won't. Right, so let's start that again.